everybody. Welcome to a special short episode of Ask Paul, where you can send your questions in to www.paulabernathy.com, and I will answer all your electrical questions, electrical contracting questions, anything to do with the electrical industry. You're more than happy to send in something through our portal over at Let's Ask Paul at paulabernathy.com. But tonight, on a quick episode, I have a special guest all the way from Colorado. We have with us the man, the myth, the legend, Jay, the Basement King Grundberg.
Oh, yeah, baby. Thanks for having me on the show, Mr. Abernathy.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Well, again, if you haven't listened to it, folks, it's out there. Jay, it's live, isn't it? You're seeing you're starting to get people that are hearing it, and shoot, I think we even have some guests that might have heard it that are coming on the show tonight. You interested in talking to some guests?
Of course. Yeah, I love the fans that I have, and just the buzz about this whole Kicking It with the King podcast. It's just been awesome. Again, we started it. We were supposed to release it earlier this year. Kind of had a late jump to it, but we are here and it's live. It is it's rolling now, so
yeah,
I'm excited.
I think there's 3 episodes that are up right now, so go check that out. It's at Anchor, anchor.fm/The Basement King. So you can go listen there. Also am playing it right now over on my YouTube channel. If you want to listen to it there, over on Master the NEC. But again, there's many ways to listen to it. Listen at Anchor, and it's available on Spotify, I think, as well, because some people have been saying they've been listening on Spotify. That is true. It's there. And I think I've also, on my end, I think I syndicated it on Google, Apple. So I think you're on like 10 other platforms as well that I've got it syndicating it over onto. So look for great things that are going to come out of that. Some good stuff. You did an introduction, and then you did one on hourly rate, talking about hourly rate. That one's up there. And then you did one on your goals for 2022. So how's that going? Are you meeting all the goals that you set? Or I guess
of course.
The listeners got to go listen first to determine whether you met the goals. Are you meeting all your goals? Did you give up alcohol? That was one of them. Did you give it up 100%? Are you done with that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I wouldn't slide on any of that stuff. You know, when I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And that's what separates me from a lot of the other guys out here, especially electrical contractors. You know, when I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I'm clean of alcohol as of 20 seconds ago or whatever it was. But
there you go. That's what I'm talking about. He is clean of alcohol at least 20 seconds ago. A New Year's resolution, another New Year's resolution blown away down the drain. All right. So let's go on and get to the phone lines. We have another caller that comes in that wants to talk about listening to your episode of Kicking It with the King. So caller, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm on the line.
Hey, thanks for calling in. What did you want to say to the Basement King? I mean, you listened to, you have to listen to, he calls into the show.
This guy sounds like trouble. He sounds like trouble. Sounds like he's calling from a prison cell.
No,
okay,
brother,
give it to me.
No, brother, it's all good. I just want to let you know, I listened to Kicking It with the King. I listened to all 3 episodes, and it keeps me wanting more. And I just want you to keep putting it out there, man. It's just been an inspiration to me. But also, if anybody's out there interested in being a cell pen pal, my celly number is 553-612. I'm simply doing about 30 to life for, we won't get into that.
Whoa, okay, that's good, man. Thanks for calling in. Hey, thanks. I mean, hey, you've got fans, Jay, everywhere. I'm just saying.
You know what? I'm going to write him. I'm going to write him that article on Schneider. You know, I'm pretty sure he'd be interested on that. So you got one coming your way, brother. You're going to get my opinion on that.
That's not cool. Okay, so we got another caller calling in. A little weird to understand this one, but calling in. So they're also a fan of the show, Kicking It with the King. So
Of course, who isn't? You know, who wouldn't be? I mean,
I know, right? I know, right? So here we go. We got this one here. So caller, you're on the line. You're talking with Paul, and you're talking with the King himself.
It's just an honor to be able to call in and talk to the King. And of course, I guess you're there too, Paul. But I really wanted to talk to the King, and you know, King, I'm just so new into this industry, and having somebody like you to really embrace and teach me about electrical contracting, that just means the world to me, man. I just want you to know how much I appreciate it.
Well, caller, I really appreciate you too. You sound like you're about 4 or 5 years old, whatever, 6. So I mean, obviously you're new to life, probably. But you know what? Kicking It with the King is the podcast for you to listen to. You know, we'll teach you up. We'll turn little youngsters into men on this podcast too, as well. So thanks for listening, brother.
Absolutely.
Or sister. I don't know who that was.
You're not gonna call me?
Whoa, what caller? I thought I didn't know that was you know, still on the line there.
Sorry, brother. I got the pen rolling. I'm writing right now. I'll send you that. I don't know if you can get calls. You know, those might cost me a little bit. So I don't. I'll call you, brother. Don't worry about it. I'll call you. I'll call you. I'll call you.
Yeah. While we were talking about it, you did bring it up. So I guess most people heard the news about the Schneider recall. Was it 1.4? Was it 1.4 million panel load centers?
Golly.
I mean, really? That's incredible. That's a lot of load centers recall. Yeah,
1.4 million.
Yeah, and
that's more pennies than I have in my piggy bank. I'll tell you what.
You can bring your pennies over here.
Whoa, dude. I need to turn him off. You know, I don't know.
Hey, you know, between you and I, Paul, you need to go ahead and just disconnect that guy.
I swear.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you need to turn him off because you know what? He's taking up way too much.
Whoa, dude. Okay, I'm losing control of everything here at Ask Paul. Okay.
Back to the Schneider. Back to the Schneider thing. Okay. So 1.4 million.
Now, do you use Schneider, don't you? Do you use QO or a Homeline?
I'll be honest with you. They're not my brand of choice.
You use what you can get. Are you a Schneider guy?
You know, I mean, in this day and age, you have to use what you can get. But right now, I'm able to get a lot of Eaton.
Okay.
I use Schneider if it's on site and it's something that's already there existing. Then I'll obviously use it. But man, they are expensive. I'll tell you what.
I can tell you a little bit about Eaton.
Whoa, damn. Where'd that come?
Who's this?
What is that?
Who is this?
Don't you worry about it.
Whoa, never mind. Just whoa.
I'm still here.
Okay, delete
Whoa,
him.
dude, he's still here.
Yeah, I'm still here too.
Oh, okay, look. Y'all need to chill for a second. We're going to talk about this Schneider thing. So 1.4 million. And they put out a remedy. The remedy, and think about it this. That's 1.4 million, and we've had a pretty down economy. I mean, I've been hearing you and other contractors say that they haven't been able to get product. I mean, it's just the shelves are bare.
Sure.
So
I mean, you could walk through Home Depot right now, the largest electrical supply house in the whole United States, and 3/4 of their load centers on the shelves are empty. I mean, you cannot keep up. They cannot keep up with the demand, even though the economy, as far as material and product, aren't coming out as quick. Us as contractors, we're busier than ever. So it's really hard to do. But I know that Home Depot does carry a lot of Schneider products. So curious to see how that all ties out.
I think the actual Consumer Product Safety Commission report made a statement in there about the distribution and where it was. So it was Home Depot's and I think it was Lowe's too. But I mean, they're very,
Sure.
Hey, look, and I've told many people that Schneider's a good brand. Cutler Hammer, Eaton's a good brand. They're all good, but they're not all immune from issues. How many times we've had this discussion about FPE, Federal Pacific, We've talked about Zenskos. We got the the home inspectors get this this hard on. Oh, sorry for not like an FPE, but at the end of the day, I've seen some that have been so. Did you? Hey, I got trivia. I got some trivia for you. Okay, it's got some trivia. That is, did you know that
Bring it.
FPE, the stab lock design, is actually owned by Schneider and it is used in Canada?
I did not know that.
Still,
no, wow.
Still, now I say that, I preface this by saying it was at one point. It might not be now, but the stab lock design didn't go away. Of course, now they'll go out there and tell me they never made it before, but it's on the internet. So if it's on the internet, it has to be true, right?
Sure.
Yeah, my cell numbers.
Sure, I mean,
my cell number's on the internet.
Dude, stop it.
Oh my goodness.
I can't turn it off. We're in the middle of a call.
Wow,
you got to get
him. Put his volume down a little bit. But yeah, you're right. If it's on the internet,
I'll call him. Don't worry.
Whoa.
You take care of that young man.
If
It's on the internet, it's true. I mean, look up "Kicking It with the King." I mean, you'll see the best electrician in the whole state of Colorado, and any other state at that too. So I mean, obviously, what the internet says is true. So
that's true.
But back to the stab lock stuff. You know, FPE and Zenko, those are like curse words in the electrical trade. You talk to any electrician, obviously, those more who are uneducated than obviously educated, they will turn, the what? FPE? Like who? How dare you even talk about that? You need to replace that thing. And it's just like, when did those have expiration dates on them?
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but they immediately want to yank those out, right? They just, no matter what, it didn't matter. You could eat off of it. It could be that nice, and people are ready to yank it out.
Oh, no doubt about it. Just the name itself, it makes electricians cringe.
Yeah.
And home inspectors. Like you said, home inspectors in their reports, FPE, need to get that replaced. You need to talk to a licensed electrician and have them come out and do a survey on this and make sure that it's good. Although it's been working for 40 years, all of a sudden now it's just not going to work. But,
yeah, so all of those people that say that, here you've got a massive recall. Now, here, interesting thing, Jay, is this is a voluntary recall. So it was part of the voluntary recall process with the Consumer Product Safety Commission where they initiated. It does give an incident which did not result in a fatality, but did result in a fire, but nobody was hurt, and that's always good news. But you know what? At the end of the day, I will tell you that's pretty stand up of Schneider. That'll be a $1.4 million recall. If it was $1 an incident, it's still $1.4 million. And it's going to be much more than that, especially if they have to pull them out, because this affected some of the load centers that had the covers, which I guess almost all have a cover. But I think all the way back in 2019, and then most recently 2020 to I guess 2022. But yet the other ones, they kept going, and the one with the covers, they kept going until, the one they sold them with the cover. I think they all have a cover, but those went all the way until March of 2022 before it was an issue. That's an awful lot that have been installed out there. I think the biggest thing is the consumer is not going to know. I mean, I'm asking you, you're a contractor. If you installed these,
not only a contractor, the best contractor. Go ahead.
That's right. That's
the contractor.
So not only is if you installed these, but are you going to go back to your customers and tell them that they have a faulty panel? I mean, I know some customers are looking and say, "Hey, it's not me. I'm going to get money for it. If I'm going to replace your panel, I'm getting paid, and Schneider's going to pay it." I get it. Does that turn into a business model for any contractor, or is it just more of a headache? I mean, think about it.
I mean, it's one of those situations where, I mean, I don't really, Schneider isn't my number one brand. I'll be honest with you. Eaton is. So
no, okay.
I do a lot of BR panels with Eaton.
So let's shift it to Eaton then.
Oh, you don't need to shift it to Eaton.
Stop. The Eaton. So if you are doing all these installs, Jay, and Eaton were to do a massive 1.4 million panel, and you installed a bunch of these.
Right.
What do? Do you go to your customers? You install them.
You know, as a contractor, I'd reach out to Eaton.
Well, that's what they say to
them.
do. That's what they say to do. Contact Eaton.
Yep.
Not Eaton. Excuse me. Disclaimer. This has nothing to do with them. We're just using a hypothetical.
No. So let's go back to Schneider just to make it. I would reach out to Schneider if I was installing a lot of their load centers, and I'd reach out to them and say, hey, listen, I've installed a gazillion of your guys' product ever since I was in business. Give them some dates and say, hey, I got over hundreds if not thousands of customers with your product installed with my name on it as an electrical contractor, the electrical contractor, best residential contractor in the state of Colorado. But what would you like me to do? What as an installer of your product, what would you like me to present to my customers? And hopefully they would provide me a letter or some type of documentation to where, it obviously doesn't tie me into it as much as it ties them into it with their product. And then I can send it off to the customers if it just so they know. So, but I
what
do a
happens?
lot of customers. That'd be a lot of emails.
So what happens if I guess if they're willing to pay for the replacement. So I guess the question really to me is, Jay, in this deal with the Schneider, the remedy is repair or replacement. So did you notice in the recall, it was all centered around the QO with the neutral plug on. Now you like that, right? You like the neutral plug ons.
That's a newer technology. It's to where the breaker actually
slips over the bus, right?
Snaps into the bus bar. Yeah. So then you don't have those pigtails. You don't have that load center getting cluttered with a bunch of extra conductor in there that you really don't need nowadays. And I love them. I mean, they're usually the same price as the pigtails. Maybe they're a little bit more at times. It depends on what location you go to. But yeah, I mean, it makes the install, it cuts it down about 20%.
Okay. So you gotta wonder. Now I talked to my brother, and he says that now he never uses QO, but he uses the home line.
Sure.
And he says just purely cost. And at the end of the day, he says that, and he doesn't know if it's a design's different. But obviously, there's plug-ons for the BR as well. I would think, isn't it? With when you're dealing with Cutler Hammer, so do they have the CH and the BR?
Well,
do you use CH
so
or BR?
I use the BR, and you can always tell because it has a green round circle on it that says BR, and then below it says PON, which is plug-on neutral.
Okay, but their low end line, the BR has the plug-on neutral.
Oh yeah, I have
so that
hundreds of them in stock right now in my warehouse.
So that means that obviously Schneider's BR line or this line, home line, and I think my brother said it too. So obviously they have the So what I'm wondering what was uniquely wrong with the issue with the QO.
QO, I would say that QO is more attractive to the commercial guys. I'm a residential guy myself, and maybe they're just, again, commercial guys are wired different, just like union guys are. Maybe they're.
But the best residential, right, in Colorado.
I mean the top shelf. I mean, if I'm in a class that there is no class below me or above me, I am the top shelf. But back to these commercial guys, and maybe that guy that has told you he sounds like he's from a jail cell. Maybe he's a commercial guy who got locked up.
I don't.
They just think they're superior to us, and they install those QO brake, and maybe they're just doing it wrong. Maybe they're over torquing. Maybe they don't use their torque screwdrivers because in commercial, obviously they just do whatever they want. They're superior to everyone else, and maybe that's the issue. I don't know.
Watch it, bro. Watch it.
Hey, isn't it lunchtime? Go eat some chow, bro.
Whoa.
Get out of here, man.
Just
Go listen to my other podcast.
Just check yourself.
Learn something.
Just check yourself.
Whoa, that's
Oh,
enough.
I've been checked, bro.
Enough of that. Look, don't y'all get into it. Okay, you're just feeding him and you're just baiting him on, and we don't need that. Okay, so yeah, so it's huge to me. It's I feel bad for Schneider to have to go through that, but it's going to be a costly thing.
So let me ask you something. If I reach out to a customer and they go and I provide them documentation from Schneider that says, hey, we you could have a issue with the load center that this electrician installed, and then you go back and the homeowner doesn't like it. They have kids, whatever it is, pets, their own family that bought this house, and they go, I don't feel safe.
Well,
and they go, I need you to replace it.
Well, that brings in even a bigger question. That even brings in a bigger question now. What about your insurance for your home, your homeowner's insurance?
Mm-hmm.
You know the grief that you get from them when somebody sees aluminum wire and they don't understand that that's a different era. That was a different time back then. Or they see an FPE or a Zinsco, whatever, and they freak out, right? And I tell people all the time, there was never, the one difference, there was never a recall with FPE. There was a class action lawsuit that was isolated to one specific area because it was a case in that. But ultimately, it never was a recall. It never went nationwide. There was a 2-year investigation by the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Ultimately, there wasn't enough data to move forward with it. And that's huge if you're going to spend that much time investigating it and you not move forward. Obviously, there's not a voluntary, recall program back then to do that. And again, kudos to Schneider for stepping up and doing that. But yeah, so how is this going to impact? If I've got, and we'll just use homes because it's probably not all in homes, but 1.4 million now with people that have new homes. So it's from 2019 to 2020 to 2021, all of 2021, and now the first quarter of 2022. Does that raise liability at this point? I mean, if there's obviously something wrong enough that you can initiate a recall, how can you turn around and say, oh, it's okay, leave it, when you've identified that there's obviously a problem? I know there was only one incident, but that's huge if you look at the incident and go, there's a big enough problem. Because I can tell you, and you know this, large manufacturers, if there's an incident, they just bury that, right? They would just bury that. One incident, bury it.
Sure.
Big company like that, one incident, it's one incident. It's like AFCIs or something not working somewhere and somebody complaining. That's not going to change an industry. That's not going to make somebody stop using AFCIs. But in this issue, you hit it on the head. If the customer wants it replaced, you got to replace it. If the if the insurance doesn't know, now what happens if there's a fire unrelated to this load center and they hire some expert to come in and do their digging and their due diligence, and say they hired me and I came in there in that fire and I found out that they were using a panel that was under a recall and it wasn't replaced, it wasn't fixed. We always know that the lowest hanging fruit is always, when it comes to a fire, they always blame the electrical, right? When they know nothing else, they always go, it must be an electrical fire, that type of thing, right?
Yep, all the time, man. That's the biggest thing with the FPs, right? When those inspectors go out and they look at a house, and they look at the panel and they go, oh, this is FP. What do they say next to it? Fire hazard. Yeah. And what does the customer that's buying the house go? Red flag, fire hazard. Like, I don't want to move into this house that's going to cause a fire. So automatically they say, hey, get a hold of a licensed electrician to come out and look at it. And I'll go out and look at it for X amount of money. And I say, there's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with this panel. So it's, but in this instance,
we've talked about that, right? For the FPEs and things like that. I mean, there's alternatives. I mean, they do make breakers, aftermarket breakers, Challenger, Reliance. There's different breakers that have been evaluated. The issue with FPE was more about the saying that they misled the NERDL's nationally recognized testing laboratory, in this case UL, with their test results. But then studies were done, and it's in the Consumer Product Safety Commission. It's in the report. The tests were done, and they say everything is fine, and it would never get to a point where the incident would cause a fire. Although you hear electricians all the time say, oh, yeah, I've messed with FPE. I watched it. You could weld with it. It's just, it won't trip. It won't trip. But you ever ask them to replicate it, you hear nothing, right? They don't say a word. So I'm just wondering how this, when you have 1.4 million out there that you know is a problem.
That's a lot, man.
And you know that
that's a lot.
Yeah, and you know there's a problem. And I mean, that is a lot when you think of COVID and being locked up and then, very little demand.
That's a lot.
A very little supply that's been out there. So it's not like these store shelves are just packed and they're just hundreds are going out every day. And for the last couple of years, it's been slim pickings, and it's still 1.4 million.
Yeah, which tells you, I don't see too many QOs in our neck of the woods that we work in. A lot of the home line and sometimes Siemens, because you get into these housing developments and 100 plus homes, 200 plus homes, and they're all the same load center. So I could see QOs being an alternative to maybe a home line or a Siemens or Eaton, because maybe the product wasn't in stock, so they're installing these QOs. But at the end of the day, 1.4 million, that's like a zillion times more than my followers on TikTok, which if you don't follow me, go to the Basement King 12 on TikTok and follow me. Great stuff over there, man. I get the whack hackers over there that hassle me. But as far as QO goes, I'd be interested to see how electrical company would go behind.
I'll be your whack hacker.
Wow.
I'll be your whack hacker.
Whoa.
Whoa. You're underage, bud.
What is all this talk about whack hacking?
Well, whatever.
Shut up.
Whoa. Hey, look, at the end of the day, again, for all of you out there that have the consumer products, you can go over and you can get it. It's on our Facebook page over on Master the DC. It's also over on the Sparky Hub. I believe it's posted. If not, it will be soon. It is also came out in an email today I got from TDLR, Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation.
That was actually for your parole hearing.
Whoa, shut up. I'm not in jail. You're in jail.
Whoa.
Well, I don't know what he's talking about. Just whatever. Anyway.
Well, Sancho over there throwing you under the bus, Mr. Abernathy.
I don't know what that was. So anyway, at the end of the day, it's a big deal for them. So hopefully they'll work through it. And I know they will. I got some friends that
Could it be a niche for a contractor? Yeah, it could be. You could prey on that, you know what I mean, and have the customer be the prey and go, hey, I'll come in and fire safety hazard on these QOs and I'll replace them for $3,000. You could make a niche on that.
I don't think though that I don't think that it says in the article or the thing that Schneider is going to be reaching out to purchasers. First of all, they don't know who the purchasers are. I don't know the last person that got their panel installed and sent away a warranty card. I'm just saying. So they don't know. And when you bought it from Home Depot, they're not going to go that deep. Maybe they are. There's no way that they're going to go that deep, because the number that you you don't use theirs, but people that buy them from the Home Depots or whatnot, there's no way they get that deep. So who are they relying on to get this message out? A lot of times when you put out something from the Consumer Product Safety Commission, you can only do so much. That's why it's voluntary. It gets the word out. But is anybody going to actually jump on that process of changing them out, swapping them out? Maybe it's simple, Jay. Maybe the reason they say repair or replace, maybe it's simply the guts. Maybe they can just, you just take the guts out, use the cabinet, because Cutler Hammer Eaton makes this gut that can go in, so retrofit. So a lot of people were jumping on that bandwagon, where you have a multifamily building that's old and aged and they got 100 amps or 60 amps in its feeders in them. And they want to pop them out and they'll put in the guts, and you get them and they'll make you a custom gut that goes in it. It's expensive, but that might save having to rip something out, right? So maybe the solution is they do away with the plug-on neutral and just replace the guts with the standard guts, panel board guts inners, and install a neutral bus and a neutral lug. And you know, at this point, since it's only seems to be, and this is all speculation on our end.
Yeah, you seem to know a lot, don't you, sir?
Whatever. Dude, I don't know anything. I'm just telling you what I've read. Yeah.
Yeah, he knows more than he's saying.
No, I don't know more than anything. Why they do it? I don't know anything about anything other than the Consumer Product Safety Commission thing that came out.
Yeah, I hear you.
So whatever, but that I don't. And so at the end of the day, maybe it's just a simple swapping of the gut. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that could be that simple. But again, at the end of the day, it's time. It's time and material. You got to buy this product. You got to.
Now they'll probably supply you. They'll probably give you the. You know, they'll probably part of that process. They'll probably give you the guts, right?
But you got to go out and figure out what size of load center, because obviously there's different QO load centers. I imagine. You know, I mean, for Eaton, for example, you know, you got your 1224s, you got your 1632s, your 2040s. You know, so you got to size it properly, and then so that takes time to get out there, right? You got to size it because every basement's a little different. You don't really know, or basement. I'm sorry, project. I am the basement king, so I do a ton of basements, but whatever the load center is, and that's time, right? And so if you're out there, you know, an hour and doing all these calls and contacting the Schneider to get you some replacements, it's all time. You got to fit in your schedule. So
absolutely.
Even though that's quicker than just pulling it out, I mean, it might be more cost efficient. It might just be easier just to get some other manufacturer, which sucks for Schneider because now you're going, okay, I'll pay for you to probably install a Eaton, you know, or a
well,
Siemens,
no, I don't think they do that. I don't think they're going to do that. They have plenty of other inners that are probably not the plug. Because right now, this whole thing just seems to affect the plug-on neutral. It doesn't seem to affect any of their other line. And I mean, I don't imagine they've shifted 100% to plug-on neutrals for everything. I can't imagine that took place. So if you look at the recall, that's it only applies to plug-on neutrals.
Right. Okay. Well, then you go with their Homeline series maybe, or you just replace them with the pigtail style breakers. And at the end of the day, though, I don't want to. Maybe you have to send them a picture. Maybe take a picture of it. It seems to be identify the job, forward it in, and get the proper breakers.
Yeah, it seems to me like it's going to be a real convoluted process if you think about it. You know,
for me, I don't use Schneiders.
Yeah, so well, some people say not unlucky. I mean, there's, as you said, there's money to be made here. But I'm thinking about the manufacturer a little bit now and thinking, Jesus, so first of all, they're probably banking that 1.4 million people don't complain. Okay, I don't even know.
That's a lot of people, man.
Yeah, so, and that is the one thing I will say about recalls is how many people have recalls on their car and never do anything about it. So there's the large number of getting this out there. They know that there's a massive, large percentage of people will never hear it and they never know it. I mean, they'll just never know. So you can't fix what you don't know. So I am sure they're not going to put out a campaign like cigarettes are bad for you and start putting, things on TV about the cigarettes.
Don't be touching my cigarettes.
Nothing to do with that. But I'm just saying nobody's going to be there's not going to be that kind of campaign. You with me?
Yeah. No,
So if they're banking on that,
I'm with you.
But somebody's going to have to pay to come out and do the inspection. That's going to cost them. Somebody's got to pay to do the work. That's going to cost them. Regardless, if it's a panel that is recalled, it has to be repaired or replaced. I don't see how somebody could go out and look at it and go, well, this one's okay. You couldn't do that. If there's a defect in its design that is inherent to this issue, then it has to be replaced. Now, maybe again, repaired means maybe they just replace the guts. Replace means they got to rip it all the way out. I'm not sure how they're going to tell which is which ones are okay to be repaired and which ones are going to have to come all the way out.
Yeah. This is very new information. Obviously, breaking news here on Electrical Code Academy, Electrician Live, Master the NEC stuff, where you do get breaking news, and we're spilling it. We're throwing Schneider out there. Obviously, they kind of took responsibility to put it out there, so I give them credit for that. But you're right. I mean, who knows what battles they'll face tomorrow? I just know that I'll stick to.
So let's ask
what I know.
Let me ask you one last hypothetical question, and we'll bug out of here. But I'm going to ask you one question. You find out today. Yeah. You find out today. I know you being an electrician, and pretty decent one up in Colorado.
The best. Let's just put it that way. The best. We gotta hurry this up because I gotta go take a dump.
Okay.
Oh man, I like that you said that.
Dude, I'm gonna hook y'all. I'm gonna hook y'all up.
I'll do it on video chat there, Sancho.
Whatever. But so I'm giving you the hypothetical question. He said he had to dump on my show. It's hypothetical question. You found out today that you have one of these panels in your house with your child, and consumer product comes out and says that it is a potential fire hazard. Yep. What does Jay do?
I call Schneider and tell him I want it replaced ASAP.
Seriously?
They can figure it out. Oh, of course. I mean, that's as a homeowner and someone who knows that this could potentially be, life-threatening with a child, a 3-year-old in my house and a 15-year-old, 13, he's about to be 16. My wife and my animals, and all the stuff I have, of course, I'd reach out to them and say, hey, I need it replaced immediately, ASAP, like I'm on it.
Right.
So
I agree. Now, what makes that different than the FPE is that FPE did not do a recall, and there was a 2-year investigation. And you can have your own personal opinions about FPEs, INSCOs, and whatever. There's millions of them out there. Say what you will, but what we have currently is a recall that is a voluntary recall, means the manufacturer's identified a problem. They have put it out there. It is available, and you can go to it, and if you read it, it will tell you exactly all the information that you need to know on it and how many people it affects. It even gives you the model number that it's going to affect. And they state that it'll be replaced or repaired free of charge. And it tells you where they're sold. And for those out there that are interested, the recall number at the Consumer Product Safety Commission, if you want to go look it up, it's 22-159. And it is, again, the recall number for the Schneider Electric QO panels, and there is probably plug-on neutrals, and there's probably about in the list here, I would say there is, if I just had to throw a number without counting, there's about 30 different models. So that's what you got to do. You got to go, you got to get out there, and you see the Basement King, he's concerned. So at the end of the day, he's the expert, right? So till next time, everybody, thanks for listening to Let's Ask Paul, a little different episode today. A little fresh, had some callers call in, and, it's all good. So till next time, everybody, stay safe, take care.